What's up, Sneaky Nation? Sneaky P here, back with all the news after the wild card playoff week in the playoffs here of our Columbus Aviators franchise, where the Aviators escaped with a victory over the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of players stepped up in the game to make it happen. David Cobb had a 65-yard touchdown reception out of nowhere. Drake Kirkpatrick, against the team that drafted him, had two huge interceptions, one to pretty much seal the game for us, and the other just to prevent the Bengals from making a Hail Mary play. It really was a crazy playoff game, perfectly fitting for what we expected to see, and the Aviators came out on top. Next up, it's not going to be easy. We have the 12-4 Baltimore Ravens, and it is going to be a tough one here in the divisional round of the playoffs. We do have a few things to do today, including checking this injury report on Dorial Green-Beckham. He is one of our biggest playmakers on offense, and having him go down could be detrimental to this team. It's going to be interesting to see how long he's out for, and it could be bad news for us. He is going to be out for the remainder of the playoffs. Dorial Green-Beckham's season is over, and that is a huge blow to this Aviator offense. Again, you know, Curtis Harden came aboard and really became the guy in Columbus. However, Dorial Green-Beckham started to come back alive towards the end of the season, making a lot of big plays in the final few weeks. And not having him on the field could allow opposing defenses to put more pressure on Curtis Harden. That's one less playmaker we have on the field, one less guy that other teams are going to have to worry about. So who fills the role here? Kendall Wright, I actually like a lot in the slot. I think he's going to be fine in the slot spot. So I think I might go ahead and put him back there. He's been doing pretty solid for us there throughout the season. The question is, who gets that other wide receiver spot? Is it Justin Hunter or Chris Owusu? Now, Hunter, if we look at the stats throughout the season, Hunter's probably had a better season. He's also had a lot more opportunities than Chris Owusu has. But we've seen him drop a lot of passes throughout the season. And two in the playoff game against the Bengals. Now, one of those drops that he had was okay. Like, he got hit right as the ball got to him. It was a good defensive play. I understand that. The other play, though, was really just unacceptable. It would have been for a first down, and he was wide open. And having a drop in a situation like that is not a good thing to have. So he has 4 touchdowns on the year. Again, his stats are a lot better than we see from Chris Owusu. But Owusu, we know he can make some big plays, including in the playoffs. He just stepped up for us and had 2 huge catches for us, both going for a first down. And, you know, we feel comfortable with Chris Owusu. Justin Hunter does offer height on the outside, though. Either way, whoever goes on that outside spot, we're definitely going to need a lot from them in terms of production. You know, they're going to have a vital role in this offense one way or another. Our backup receivers do tend to play quite a lot. So let's go ahead and move Kendall Wright down here. We're going to give Justin Hunter the go-ahead. If he's not performing early on, you know, we might make that switch. We might throw Chris Owusu up there. Either way, Owusu is going to be at that number 4 spot. He's ready to play when a wide receiver needs some rest. Or again, if Justin Hunter isn't delivering, we can go ahead and move Owusu up. Now let's check out what happened in the rest of the playoffs, kind of see how the games are unfolding here. So playoff schedule, what went down in the wild card round? We know the Aviators beat the Bengals 34-26. The game was a lot closer than it looked, though. 42-21, the Packers are going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. And looking at the stats, Aaron Rodgers, an MVP caliber game from an MVP quarterback. 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jameis Winston with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Chris Ivory, now on the Packers, 19 carries, 75 yards, only 3.9 yards a carry. He did get a touchdown, but he also fumbled the ball once. And then Jordan Todman also ran for a touchdown there. Receiving, Mike Evans, a great game, 8 catches, 100 yards. Jordy Nelson, 7 catches, 116 yards. Randall Cobb, 6 for 62 and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams also getting a touchdown here. Vincent Jackson and Mohamed Sanu getting touchdowns for the Bengals. Mohamed Sanu going over from the Bengals, so that was a big loss to them. You know, he's a big-time playmaker, and the Bengals not having him on the field definitely could have hurt their performance against us and throughout this entire season. But he seems to be doing work there for Tampa Bay, even though their playoff run ended as well. Chris Ivory had a touchdown out of the backfield, and then John Kuhn did out of the backfield as well. In terms of defense, Brandon Spikes leading the way with 14 tackles, a familiar face, but it was not enough for Tampa Bay. Stevie Brown with 12, Clinton Dix with 10 sacks. We got one for Eric Sullivan, the rookie left outside linebacker out of UCLA. And then Drake Nevis is going to have a sack as well. Interceptions, Sam Shields getting the only one there for the Packers. And they are going to escape with the victory. Going down the list, we have the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Chargers beating the Chiefs 27-13. Here, let's check out the stats. Phillip Rivers, 327 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Alex Smith, 251 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions for him. Melvin Gordon running the ball, 4.6 yards a carry. Pretty solid performance from the second-year pro from Wisconsin, but he fumbled the ball once. And that's not good to have in a playoff game. Chris Johnson now over with the Chiefs here. 23 carries, 85 yards, 3.7 yards a carry. Danny Woodhead finding his way into the end zone for the Chargers. Receiving the ball, David Nelson. 8 catches, 122 yards for him. Travis Kelce having a big game for the Chiefs. 6 catches, 68 yards. The touchdown passes are going to be going to Danny Woodhead out of the backfield, doing a good job finding his way into the end zone throughout this game. Jonathan Baldwin making a big-time play there for the Chargers, and then Jerron Brown out of Clemson for the Chiefs. Going to defensive side of the ball, Manti Te'o getting 11 tackles, Derek Johnson 11 tackles, and Barry Church with 10 tackles. Sacks, Tamba Ali with 1, Justin Houston with 1, and John Simon with 1 as well. Interceptions, Manti Te'o having a great game there, also adding an interception to his 11 tackles with Derek Johnson doing the same thing. Ron Parker and Jason Barrett each getting interceptions as well. Final game of the wild card round, we had the Vikings and the Saints. The Saints are going to win 31-26 at home over the Minnesota Vikings. Looking at the stats here, Drew Brees, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Teddy Bridgewater, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then Garrett Grayson came into the game very briefly. It looks like he had 2 attempts. I don't know if Brees is down or not. He might have gone down for 2 plays and just came back in. That's like the likely outcome there. Mark Ingram, 24 carries, 125 yards, 5.2 yards a carry, and a touchdown. Monster performance from him, actually out-dueling Adrian Peterson on the day. And whenever you have a running back that outplays Adrian Peterson, you're putting your team in a good position to win. 17 carries, 86 yards, 5.1 yards a carry, and a touchdown for Adrian Peterson. Marcus Colston fumbled the ball, but that probably was in the receiving game. Brandon Cooks, 10 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Monster performance from the third-year pro there. James Jones, 6 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown for the Vikings. Brian Hartline for the Vikings also getting a touchdown. And Akeem Nicks going over to the Saints after his time with the Titans. And he had 1 catch, 17 yards, and a touchdown. So we're seeing some of our former players step up for other teams in the playoffs. Harrison Smith going to lead the way in tackles with 14. David Hawthorne with 11. And Eric Kendricks with 10. Sacks, we got 4 for Cameron Jordan, 2 for Everson Griffin, 1.5 for Dakota Watson, 1 for John Jenkins, 1 for Sharif Floyd, half a sack for Hawthorne, Casey, Hicks, Anthony Barr, and Stephen. And but Cameron Jordan, 4 sacks. I mean, look at this defense from the Saints. They were just putting a lot of pressure on the young quarterback Bridgewater, and despite all the pressure he got, he did not throw an interception. So a pretty solid game. Not enough to outduel Drew Brees, but that's also asking a lot for a pretty young quarterback. Looking at the divisional round, we got the Chargers at the Dolphins, the Saints at the Eagles, the Aviators at the Ravens, and the Packers at the Seahawks. Let's go ahead and check out what the lineup is looking like for the Ravens, what the Aviators are going to have to defeat in their next game here. And we'll look at their injury report as well to kind of see if they're going to have any disadvantages, because we're missing 2-time big-time playmakers for us right now. And not that we wish injuries on anybody, even in fictional games. But, you know, we want to know what they're going to be without. And Darryl Smith, a good middle linebacker, is definitely a pretty big blow to them. Jeremy Lane, a solid veteran corner here, as well as John Jalapeno, a backup left guard. But missing out on Smith and Lane, you know, 2 guys that could play a big role in their defense. I know Smith does. We'll find out where Lane was on the depth chart here. But overall, having 2 players gone as well kind of evens things out a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at their lineup as a whole here. And Joe Flacco leading the way, 85 overall. Blaine Gabbert, MVP quarterback. What? No, I'm kidding. It's going to be his backup with Jimmy Clausen behind him. At running back, Justin Forsett is going to be the guy. Just heads up, guys. Heads up. I'm warning y'all now. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this guy's name. Taliaferro? I'm going to say Taliaferro. Hopefully I can do that in the game when I have to call it really quickly. And then this one I'm not great with either. Juzik? I don't even know. Forgive me, guys. Forgive me. I'll learn one day. Wes Welker going to be the #1 option here for the Ravens. Danny Amendola. So they are teaming up once again, this time in Baltimore. You know, Joe Flacco's not Tom Brady. He's not a bad quarterback. And these guys are a little bit older now. You know, Wes Welker being in his 13th season. So not the same explosive threats that they once were. Especially, again, with a guy like Tom Brady. But they are players that can make some plays. They are very smart, intelligent players. And we're going to have to look out for them because our defense gets exposed a lot. And high IQ players are definitely going to be more capable of doing that. Javon Locke, a rookie wide receiver out of Tennessee, is going to be in the 4th slot for them. Dennis Pitta at tight end with Crockett Gilmore. Left tackle, Eugene Monroe, the 1st-round pick there. And then a great left guard here. Center, this has got to be one of the best offensive lines I feel like we have seen yet. And weird enough, over at right guard, they're starting Richie Incognito as opposed to Marshall Yanda. I wonder what the reason behind that is. Yanda is slotted as the backup right here, but at right guard, he's not even on the top 3. That's an interesting coaching call. I'm not sure what's bringing this about, but either way, this is probably the best offensive line we have played. You know, we did a good job putting pressure on Andy Dalton in the Bengals game. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that with Joe Flacco. And again, if we give him a lot of time, you know, he's got wide receivers that are capable of making some big-time plays. Timmy Jernigan is going to be the left end here, 3rd-year pro from Florida State. Jeremy Mincey out of Florida. Brandon Williams and Alameda Ta'amu. I don't know if I said that right. Forgive me again. I'm not great with names. You guys know this. Elvis Dumerville going to be at that left outside linebacker spot. A longtime veteran, one of the greats. He's been a good player for a long time, I should say. C.J. Mosley at middle linebacker, Arthur Brown behind him. Right outside linebacker, again, another one of the greats, Terrell Suggs. A lot of veterans on this defense. Here's Jimmy Smith, William Gay, and Sterling Moore with Antoine Cason. So they are, again, missing out. But it doesn't seem to be a huge blow to their team. They have the depth that can kind of make up for it, especially with our injury to Dorial Green-Beckham. Our depth is taking a hit there as well. Kendrick Lewis going to be at free safety. At strong safety, they have Will Hill, and then Matt Elam behind him. Wow. Interesting to see that. Justin Tucker, one of the best kickers in the game. John Ryan's going to be their punter. Javon Locke will be returning kicks for them as well as punts. And again, you know, this is a team with a lot of veteran players. This isn't a team with a lot of young, inexperienced guys that might make mistakes. This is a reliable, playoff-driven vets. You know, they have the experience there. And it's going to be a tough game because we are the exact opposite of that. We are a very young team. A lot of our guys have not seen long runs in the playoffs, and it's going to be interesting to see how we stack up against the Baltimore Ravens. But that is going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please smash that like button if you did, guys. It really does help me out a lot. And I appreciate all you guys watching these 2 seasons so far. I've been having a blast with this series. I hope y'all are as well. And I will see you guys in the divisional round at M&T Bank Stadium as we take on the Baltimore Ravens. Later.